I've been asked many times why I chose the path of being an investor and a business owner. It's not as obvious as most people would think. I didn't come from a family of business people. There was no influences coming up of investors. I didn't really know of anybody who invested or even owned their own business. My family comes from a line of sawmill workers and laborers and factories. And that's how many thought that I would continue on. And for an individual, it wasn't obvious because it really wasn't part of my character growing up. I struggled with school. I was in special education, required special tutoring. I had a learning disability that's really never been specifically identified. So the idea of myself creating a multi-million-dollar investment portfolio that didn't even seem real, that didn't even seem a possibility to anybody, including myself. My parents' highest hopes for me is that I'd be the first to graduate high school in my family. And I guess for myself, my greatest ambition is that I would be able to be accepted into the U.S. Marines. I figured the military life was the only way I was going to be able to see the world, be able to afford to see the world, and to give me some security in having a pension. I did have a relative that retired from the Air Force, and I could see that his life quality was better than others because he had that pension coming in. So the military was the most I could hope for, and I wasn't quite sure if I would be smart enough or have the academics to do that. But I did manage to graduate high school, and I was accepted into the Marine Corps. And that was a real turning point in my life. I started working with people, competing with people on a larger scale than my little town in Montana, my little small high school. So I realized that I probably didn't have the mental deficits that I grew up thinking that I had. Again, it was sort of a mindset that my environment created, that I come from uneducated people, and that's the life. I'd have a good work ethic, but that was going to be it for me. But in the military, particularly the Marine Corps' motto of adapt, improvise, overcome, I learned to be fluid in my thinking, to be adaptive, and to learn strategically ways to achieve a goal. It's not always obvious, but you got to start. That was often the thing we were given, a mission that you go from here to there and you accomplish that mission, but how you got there and then you had to adapt to changing circumstances as they happened. That served me very well as an investor, because you have a plan, but once you get started, there's things that come up all the time, and you have to be a bit flexible in your thinking and have that confidence in yourself that regardless of what comes up, I'll be able to work this out. I'll be able to work the problem, and come out the other side more experienced and better for it. So after I left the military, I immigrated to Australia. I married an Australian woman and had my family here. And I started the career path like most people do. I realize now that I was probably cleverer than I thought I was, and I was capable of learning. So not only was I grateful to have a job, I wanted to make a career, and so I started climbing the career ladder, and I managed to get some basic qualifications from a local community college, and that got me started in the disability field. And I worked in disability mental health, tried a lot of different things. I kept down the career path and getting promoted and getting into management levels, and my income kept going up, and that's what everyone wants, and so I just continued down that path. And then a turning point happened when we bought a rural block of land, and I wanted to build a big house on it, and it was our dream home. And so my wife and I didn't really have a lot of debt, and we had some money, so we got a line of credit against the land, and we started building our house. And when we finished, we used up all the line of credit, and we had a shell. And then I realized that there's no way I'm going to be able to complete this project, let alone pay for it, working for wages. So I'm going to have to try something else. I'm going to have to invest in something. I don't know how to get my income up. And looking around what other people were doing, there was a bit of a real estate boom that was starting to happen, and people were making money in real estate. And I thought, well, I'm kind of interested in real estate. Pretty good with my hands, so maybe I can make some money renovating houses. And then between my wife's income, my income, and our equity in the land, we started building on the house and keep reevaluating, and that allows us to buy an investment property. And then we did that, and as we went along, I got better and better at investing and analyzing deals, and there was a bit of luck in the fact that we did catch the property cycle in the right position, so that gave me a good start to start with. What I did is not only reinvest the profits from each deal back into other deals, I invested in my education, and I did all kinds of courses, and I studied, and I knew that I needed to make this not only my business, it had to be my hobby. I had to invest myself into this. And so I learned all I can about investing. I've become more and more successful at that, and branching out and doing different deals and learning more and more, not only by the theoretical courses, but actually the practical hands-on. I kept buying deals. Every deal I bought had something different about it. I was expanding my knowledge base. I will follow up another video series on my road to wealth, and I will highlight every deal and the lessons learned from every deal, how that worked. But that was my initial motivation to be an investor, was to complete my house and to pay it off. But I wasn't expecting to do that in one cycle. I realized cycles go up and down. In the first cycle, I just wanted to learn how things worked, and then I'd get rich in the second cycle. But this first cycle lasted longer than normal, and I really applied myself. And so we did very well out of the first cycle. I not only completed the house, I paid it off, and I bought another dream home of ours in the States. I retired, bought a ranch, and lived a good life for a few years until market conditions all come apart, and then realized I didn't know how to manage my money correctly. And so much of I got the life experiences, I got some really great retirement experiences. I set myself up, I got a lot of investments, I learned a lot, but I lost a lot of that, which wasn't, I wouldn't want anybody else to go through that, but unfortunately that's what usually happens. You make money in booms and you lose it in the bust. People never have another bite of the apple because it's really the sleepless nights that can happen with debt hanging over you is something nobody wants to live through again, so most people give up on investing. But if you actually understand how and why you made money and how and why you lost money, it's much easier to manage that the second go around. And the idea is we got into this initially because we wanted to get the house finished, and now I want to retire in a way that I know what it's like to have money. And I've been poor and I've been wealthy, and it's better to be wealthy. You see, I still have problems when you're wealthy, but the problems are far more interesting and less devastating. And the fact that you can help people, both my father and his wife and my wife's parents, we took them around the world, and there's no way that her dad or my dad would have, went up the Eiffel Tower or through the Louvre or visit London, Hawaii. That just wouldn't have been part of their reality, and I can only do that because I could afford to do so. And that was a great way to spend some of my wealth. I have no regrets around that whatsoever. You can always contact me if you want to know anything specific about investing at workingclasswealthcreations@gmail.com. If this is the type of content that you're looking for, I'd encourage you to subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell so you can be aware anytime I release new content. You can follow me through my Facebook page, through Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and of course my website, www.workingclasswealthcreations.com. Until next time, this is Rick Ward, your Working Class Wealth Guide, helping you create, manage, and retain your first generation wealth.